friends. Welcome back to the podcast. We are thrilled that you're here today. We are talking about, a lot of stuff. We're talking about nirvana. We're asking the question, are you working hard enough? Do you ever equate your value with your output as a human being? Yeah. And we're also talking about really big news for the podcast itself. Is a lot to get into, and we can't wait to have that conversation with you. So let's get started.
This podcast is a presentation of Pioneer Dream, celebrating 30 years of moving stories for our corporate, nonprofit, and entertainment partners.
Dreamers, what is up? Welcome back to the podcast. Hello, Anjanette.
Hello.
Welcome back to you to the podcast. Thing.
Thank
so
you
glad
very
you could
much.
be here.
Yeah.
And
I knew what you meant.
Yeah. So we're getting ready to talk about Nirvana and clicking moments. And
As
all
in the
kinds
band or the philosophy?
And yes.
Oh, okay.
But before we get into all that kind of fun stuff and things that will change your lives, most certainly.
Absolutely. Well, and also we do have our really good sugar-free energy drinks working right now. Yeah.
Thank you for our sponsors, Rainstorm Energy Drinks, Clean Energy, sponsoring our show.
Does somebody know anyone that works for Rainstorm Clean Energy?
Or any other beverage that they would like to sponsor?
Please. We
Send them our way.
could use a beverage endorsement.
Before we get into all that, though, we need to tell you that we're just mere days away from the opening Dreamers Live event of the season, of the 2026 season.
Yes.
And we're so excited about it. This one happens to fall, as it typically does for us, on Groundhog Weekend.
Yeah. Well, this is our annual Groundhog Party, and it's kind of a deal. And instead of working today, I have been doing some work, but I've been taking a lot of breaks on Amazon looking to see what new Groundhog Day decorations might be available. So,
if you've never been before, we do a Groundhog event for our Dreamers Live, and people wear top hats and they wear furs and fake furs and costume jewelry.
And some people like me just wear our Groundhog T-shirts or regular clothes are fine.
And it kind of started, I think this is our third or fourth year to do it. The first year that second year that we did it, we had some people we didn't even know. That was it was their very first time coming to a Dreamers event, and they came for Groundhog, and somehow they got wind of what was happening.
They did,
and they all showed up, and actually they were a little dressed up for the typical Dreamers Live audience. Mm-hmm. And then when you looked closer, it was four women. They were best of friends, and they kind of had these almost kind of 50s style tailored dresses on.
They came in from Tulsa.
And then when you looked at them a little closer, you realized it was all groundhog print on the dresses.
Shout out to our friend Rachel.
Yeah.
Rachel's actually, she has a groundhog dress.
Yes.
And it is super cute.
But her friends did too. I found the picture of it the other day. I think it's
my gosh.
In fact, I think the picture might be in the Facebook event discussion.
I love it.
There.
Well, we kind of use Groundhog Day as an unofficial New Year's.
Yeah, it's the second New Year's of the year.
I feel like the New Year's comes too quickly and we're not really ready for it until February. But it's really just a ridiculous little holiday that I love in the dead of winter. And it's just a fun reason to get together.
And we're doing it at Ambler Hall, which is a first for us. It's a great location. It's a performance center in the heart of downtown. And so we're really excited about that.
It's a cool little venue.
We will have Groundhog Nog.
Yes.
There.
I'm pumped about it. I think we came upon this idea last time we did the podcast.
Yeah, and we will also have a champagne toast, and all your favorite Dreamers will be there, and there may or may not be, there'll be some door prizes. The location we have at Ambler Hall also has a gift shop of sorts.
It's such a cute gift shop. It's really beautiful. So they're going to open that for us so we can do a little pre-event shopping.
So as our friend Mike Stairs would say, bring your folding cash, friends.
Yes, because
I'm sure they take cards too now.
Well, they really do have. We were just over there checking things out, and they have some beautiful, fun gifts for Valentine's Day. So anyway, it'll be a fun night.
So mark your calendars. That's on January 30th, Friday night. It's a cocktail hour. It's 5 to 7, Groundhog event. You don't have to dress up if you want to. I will tell you that we got top hats on the Amazons.
We did,
and they're really inexpensive.
I have a whole collection of extra bow ties that you could just pop on your regular clothes.
Rumor has it that there might be some buttons or stickers or things things that people will pass out when you get there too. So if you are, don't be sheepish if you've never celebrated Groundhog at this level before.
Yeah.
There will be people there to make you feel at home.
Yes. And really quick, because I know we've got to move on, I would like to remind you that it is one of my bucket list items to go to the Groundhog festivities in Punxsutawney, Pennsylvania, live and in person.
Do you know how many things about that event are absolutely opposed to who I am as a human being?
I do, and that's
it's a giant crowd of like 100,000 people.
It's insane.
And you have to bus there. You're not even in charge of your own transportation. There's no control.
Are you serious?
You have no control.
Oh, it sounds
You're
so great.
outside in the cold. I don't even know if there are bathrooms available.
But think of
you
the
have
joy.
to wait on somebody else to get you. You have to be determined on someone else's schedule.
Oh, it's so horrible for you.
I don't even know if there are liquid beverages or
Listen,
not.
I think it sounds great. As long as there is a porta potty and I have groundhog nogs,
it's like
we'll be
a
good to go.
giant mobile theme park.
Yes. It is so epic.
And even Punxsutawney Phil doesn't want to be there, but he is.
No,
But
he normally bites the handlers every year, which is pretty funny. Well, we'll watch it on TV for now
we'll have none
until
of that.
I win you over.
We'll have none of that at the Dreamers Live event. But it'll all be festivity. So anyway, there's that. Also, as you well know, we have, of course, a couple of other podcasts, our sister podcast.
Sister podcast.
We have the God a Minute mini podcast, which I will say this particular episode is really funny. It's all about young love becoming forever love. That's our story.
Oh my God, that's so sweet.
And it was
a funny story.
It's a funny enough story that even our 14-year-old thought it was funny when I recited it to her in the car. Yeah,
she laughed. She smiled at you.
I don't know about that. But so then, and it also includes your original song, Lucky Charm, and you kind of give us some backstory on that.
Oh, yeah.
It's a really fantastic song. And
that's nice.
It'll be like an earworm when you get a hold of it.
It's a happy one.
And then on the ever so secret, Nobody Knows About It Mystics podcast, which is our spiritual podcast.
Spiritual.
The current episode is entitled The Gospel According to Madonna.
Oh, yeah. And you're not talking about Madonna, the mother of Mary.
No, I'm talking about Madonna, the pop star.
Madonna.
Yeah. The
who
queen of pop,
apparently
I guess.
will live forever and is
I
still
know it, man.
Like really muscly and
so
hot.
Anyway, it is well worth a listen. It's a lot of fun. And then also, if you missed the last Dreamers, if this is somehow your first Dreamers Live podcast episode to hear, go back and listen to the one before this, A Reason to Hope. It's super, super good.
Yeah.
And I promise that if you listen to any one of those three podcasts, you will feel better when it's over than when you started.
That is right. It is winter and we need, the world is crazy and we need reasons to smile.
Speaking of world and crazy,
nice
I have to let you know that big changes are happening for us in 2026.
Oh, do I know about these?
Yeah. Well, I think
something
so.
You want to tell me?
Yeah. You've heard the term open marriage before, right?
Okay, wow, ew. Yeah, no. Let's close that.
We are making changes. One, we have just released our first episode of the Dreamers Live podcast, or the Dreamers newsletter, which we're calling The Dreamery. And it's a super funny thing. It's got a little note from us. It's got columns and funny stuff to read.
And it just keeps people
highlights about
posted on all of the Dreamers
stories
Coalition.
Behind music and all that kind of stuff. It's a ton of stuff. So if you're not on that mailing list, let us know. Message us, and we'll get your email address and add it to it.
Okay.
And then you also need to know that we are changing the name of the podcast. What?
Wow. This is a big announcement.
Well,
but we're not going to say what
thing.
it is yet.
Yeah.
No,
you have to, because people
are?
won't know because it'll show up in their inbox in a different way, and they won't know what that is.
Okay.
So we have to let people know. But,
all right.
So here's the thing. We started this podcast and we thought, there's a correlation between this and the Dreamers Live events that we do and on and on and on in that community.
Yeah.
Well, actually, the Dreamers Live podcast has a life and a world outside of those events.
Yeah.
And the name, if you're just searching it out or you're browsing podcast, it doesn't really say much about the content of the podcast.
Yeah,
so
it's
if
not
you don't
descriptive.
know, if you don't know Dreamers, then the Dreamers Live name doesn't really mean as much to you. It doesn't have as much context.
Yeah.
So starting on the next episode, you will see in your subscriptions a podcast called Hope for Humans.
Hope for Humans.
Hope for Humans. And that is us. So that's the same podcast, different name.
Yeah.
And so look for it. Hope for Humans will be the new one. And you can spread it around and share it to your friends and do all that stuff.
I'm looking forward to that. Yeah, it's good. I think you say Hope for Humans because humaning is hard.
Yes.
And that's what we talk about a lot. These are positive conversations that we want to have to help encourage people.
Yeah.
To human a little better. Well,
I was thinking about it. I was trying to write a new summary for it that will turn up. When you are browsing podcasts and you want to know what a podcast is about, it usually has this little brief description on it. So I was kind of working through some of that, and that's the reality of what we do. We're not inventing new things here and all that kind of stuff. Really, what we do is we draw your attention to tools that you already have, and we kind of show you how to use them. And by doing that, you kind of make your own little world better. And so there's a lot of stuff that we can't impact. I can't change global politics, and
right.
I can't change the disparity of income across the world or do all those kind of things. But we have this little sphere of influence in our lives. And if we operate by some of the tools we have in our hands, we can make our small worlds better. Yeah. And that's kind of the best we can do.
Yeah. Hopeful conversations to help people along the way. So I like it.
Yeah.
Hope for humans. I'll be looking.
Speaking of hopeful conversations, we went to a show last night at the Center. It was really funny little Broadway show. It's called, what was it called? Choir of Man?
It's called Choir of Man.
Really funny thing.
It was set in an Irish pub, and it was all male cast.
Yeah.
I think there were 9 of them. They're all super talented and energetic. But am I saying what you were getting ready to say? Were you going to describe it? No, it was just, we're so fortunate to live in a community that has amazing entertainment and such an incredible venue. But we weren't really sure what to expect, except it was set in Irish pubs. So we're like, okay, we're cool with that. And anyway, they started the show, the first, I think, 100 people. We were fortunate to be in that group.
Got special wristbands.
Yes, we did. We got to
it's
shout
a
out
wristband that says, I have it, you don't.
Shout out to Caitlin Kramer for hooking us up with the wristbands, and our friend Val. That was a great job they did.
My gosh.
But the set itself was really cool. It looked like an Irish pub on stage, so we got to go on that, and then we got
so to start
complimentary
the show,
Irish beer.
To start the show, you go on stage and have beers with the cast and crew of the show.
And they were so energetic.
They are so funny.
And then the show is a mix of, it kind of had some story and poetry. Like, you got to know the characters, but a lot of it was just really intense.
All about community, really.
Yeah, energetic versions of pop songs that you know, but it was about the community that a public house is.
So we felt so
it was very dreamery,
contemporary, because we, here we are, cosmopolitan, because here we were doing this on a school night even.
We were out on a Tuesday.
And so
drinking on a Tuesday.
We got home, and everybody's trying to get stuff ready to get to bed and get up for school the next morning. And so I'm hanging out with our daughter, Evangeline, who's, as I said, 14. And so we're talking a little bit right before she goes to sleep and stuff. And you bought her a super cute shirt that you found somewhere. Anyway, it just happened to be her Nirvana shirt.
It was a pink Nirvana shirt.
I have to say, in bragging about our daughter, that her music scope is even more diverse than mine was at her age. She's, I came in yesterday and she was binge listening to Oasis, and then she'll slip in and out of Kendrick Lamar, but then she'll be also doing tons of classical music.
She loves classical music. Yeah. She's a cello player and a percussionist.
And she does classical lo-fi, which is like classical songs set to, like a drum and bass beat, kind of thing.
She said to me the other day she'd had like a rough morning getting out. I think it was the first morning back after Christmas break, which is always a little tough to get back. It's cold and dark. And I said, is there anything we can do when you get home so you have something to look forward to? Because that's kind of what I do. She goes, yeah, Mom. She said, can we make hot cocoa and listen to chamber music? And I was like,
as all 14-year-olds,
sure thing, babe.
As all 14-year-olds are wont to do.
And we did it.
Yeah. Well, so she wore her Nirvana shirt, the new little Nirvana shirt that you got. It's really cute. Yeah. It's also kind of almost a little 80s style. It's a little oversized. It's pink. It's
the 80s are back. It's not a flattering look for me. Nope.
Yeah,
I need
don't need
form-fitting.
Oversized. Anyway, and so I was asking her, how it went. Did anybody say anything on her shirt and all that stuff? And she said, I just kind of felt kind of stupid because somebody said, well, what's your favorite Nirvana song? And I just my mind just kind of went blank, and I just forgot everything. And then I knew I could say, it smells like Teen Spirit, but then I thought, everybody says that. I wanted to say a different song. She was this, that, and the other, and
I don't think people her age would even know about that song. I was like, baby, you could definitely throw that one out. So
that's, she made a whole playlist, and there's Nirvana on the playlist and all these other bands and stuff. It's really funny, and I'm really secretly very proud and touched that a lot of the music that's on her playlist that's more than 2 years old is music that we've introduced her to. So it's really cool. But anyway, so we're sitting there, and we're sitting on the bed, and she's kind of getting ready for bed and all that stuff. And so I said, we were talking about Smells Like Teen Spirit, and I was saying, there was a book that you and I read a long time ago called Generation X. I think it was just called X maybe.
Yeah.
And this guy was talking about our generation, Generation X, and things that have happened in our generation and what we're responsible for and all that kind of stuff. It's kind of almost a little bit of it wasn't intended to be a love letter to Generation X, but it kind of was.
It was cool.
And so then he was talking about what he described as this Cooler King moment, which is the moment when, like, if you're in a office scenario and they have the little water cooler there and people kind of get there, and that's usually where somebody would say, did you see the game last night? And you have these conversations.
Did you
and all
see the episode of The Office?
And he was saying he's trying to describe this moment where the night before he got home and MTV was kind of still a thing. And he's sitting on the couch, and it's not heralded or announced or anything because nobody knows really who Nirvana is in this moment.
Yeah.
But he's just sitting there, and this brand new release comes on, this new band, and it's a song called Smells Like Teen Spirit. And it doesn't seem like it should be at this moment because we've lived so much history since then. But in that moment, with what was happening in the musical landscape, this thing came on, and it was like, oh my God, what is this?
This is
what's happening
here?
This
is music like no one's ever made
it's
before.
It's like seeing The Matrix for the very first time. You're like, what is happening here? All that kind of stuff. And so this song came on, and it just struck him and stayed with him so much to the point that when he got to the office the next day and he's at the cooler, somebody else approached him and they said, have you heard this band Nirvana? Do you know this song and this video and all this stuff? And it was like, yes. And so there was just this kind of like, I remember where I was when this thing happened. And that song, so I'm describing this thing to Evangeline. I'm like, oh my gosh. And so it was this, and I said, so it's hard to appreciate right now what a turning point that song, that music was, and why it had the ripple effect that it did, and why from that moment on it released a lot of other bands, and other labels were scrambling to find
something in that
something
vein.
that like the other Nirvana, the next Nirvana, the B team Nirvana, which is what we do. And they were chasing the success of Nirvana by trying to find somebody else to be their Nirvana, and it really did explode. So much of what became alternative music and changed artwork and sepia tones and everything kind of went muted. And
Thank you for the flannels.
Oh my gosh, all that kind of stuff. And so, and that's the same thing was happening right about the same time when U2 then also released Achtung Baby, and it just all music just kind of shifted. And there was a turn and there was an edge and there was an angst and there was a...
Yeah, it was more than just the music. I mean, music is representative of where people are culturally, in that moment. It was like a cultural shift. A lot of times I think music mirrors that.
Right.
Because...
There was a bit of a revolt in there. There's a bit of an unsettledness in it.
Absolutely. Well, coming off the 80s, think about that. Speaking of, Madonna and all the happy pop that was there, and Life is So Great. The 80s were
even the kind of dancey stuff, and even rap had gone to more dance movie and music and stuff.
And then culturally in the 80s, it was a lot about, it was kind of a second golden era for the United States. Mirrored the 50s, like lots of materialism, and people were going to the mall and shopping, and everything was going okay in our country. We feel safe, and people, we're thriving economically. Not everybody, but that type of thing. And then Nirvana comes out, ripped jeans, flannel, and some angst, and it was like, yes.
Well, and so I can't necessarily rebuild the chronology of this conversation, but it went something like this between Evangeline and I. And I was saying this, and I said they were doing something that was kind of wholly unique to them. It was something that, they didn't even know, is anybody going to care? Is anybody going to hear this? Is what's happening here?
Right.
And I said, in my own life, I feel like I lost a lot of time being like the other record company. Like you see something that inspires you and moves you, and you say, okay, I'm going to do that. I'm going to be like that. I guess I'll, be a version of that or whatever. And instead, I mean, there's a whole lot to being inspired, and there's a whole lot to being released when you see somebody else do something. You think, oh, I can take that risk now too. But I realized, within all that, especially when we were younger, I think for me personally, there was a whole lot of this thing that was ingrained in me from our country as to what it looks like to work hard, what it looks like to be a success, what it looks like to kind of do these things, what it looks like to, do all that, and where you should be and what you shouldn't be and all that. And I was having a conversation with a friend, and we were talking about work hours and how we do this and how we do that. And I remember when we first started our company feeling really pressured, myself, compelled, because I think I was insecure in the moment of thinking, well, you just got to work all these hours. You got to be here at 8 o'clock.
Yeah.
You and I had conversations about nonstop. Like you have to be here at 8 o'clock.
We started our company like right out of college.
Oh, yeah.
So we were 21. So we were trying to
you got to be here. You
do it right.
Make sure you're in at 8 o'clock and you're out at 5 o'clock. And never mind that we were working a lot of nights too, and that we were working a lot of weekends too, but we still felt compelled.
You used to pull all-nighters editing.
Oh, my gosh.
And I used to lay on the couch and act like I was being supportive.
But I just felt so insecure that if I wasn't doing that, if I wasn't following up to the cookie cutter of corporate, rules, that somehow it undermined my value.
Yes.
And
your commitment to the cause.
Yes. And there's this whole thing where our value is kind of associated with our perceived output.
Oh,
and if we're not putting out, if you're not putting out enough, that's a different issue, really.
That is right. That's a whole other thing.
But if you feel like, I was saying, to this person I was talking to, I said, we waited later to have Evangeline. We were, married for 18 years before we even decided to have a kid. And I said, what's amazing is probably we have been together as a family for maybe 90% of our breakfasts and dinners. Yeah. It's odd for us to not be able to eat dinner together.
We've designed it. We've tried to keep that protected.
Here you have this thing, like if you take a poll and you ask most Americans, and I'm sure actually most people in the world, but if you say, give me your top 3 priorities, top 5 priorities in life. Well, it's going to start with family.
Sure.
It's going to start with friends and connection community. It's going to start with, it's going to go with health. It's going to be that kind of stuff. And yet the very things that we say we value the most are often the things that get sacrificed the easiest for this other thing we call work. Yeah. And we feel obligated, not just in an income way, not just in the responsibility way, but in a value way. Like my self perspective, my self reality. Am I a good human being? Well, how hard do you work?
That's absolutely.
How long do you work?
Yeah, it's productivity equals value.
Yes.
And I think this is a particular trap in Western civilization, but particularly in the United States of America. Yeah. It's because we have a country that is full of ideas and entrepreneurs and hardworking people, and monetary success is a high value. And so we equate our value with the role that we're playing in that. And that can be good. But I know and I know this is for men, it's a struggle as well. But for women, I feel like I've spent the last probably 5 years trying to teach myself or know what I know inside, which is I am not what I produce.
Yes.
I am not the hours that I work.
Right.
I am not how many hours I can do for the parent support group at our daughter's school and church and friends and family, or how I can always be there. I'm going to let people down because I can't keep this level. And funny thing is, no one was ever keeping me at that but me.
Right.
But that's it. We've bought into this system. So I think for women, it can be difficult because it's also productivity within your family.
Oh my
gosh.
Yeah.
I mean, if someone said to me, what is it that you...
There's a certain value to being the person who gets that thing. Mom's always on the spot. Mom's always got this covered.
I got it. I got this. I'm coordinating this. Yeah. I'm on it. And that can become all of your value. I feel that pressure,
even in our little family group, that dad's the one who can always fix everything.
Well, you are good at it. You save us a lot of money by fixing things.
It's the thing, like there's a certain level of esteem you get, like, oh yeah, I'm the dad who fixes the stuff, or I'm the dad who always gets, comes up with the surprises, or I'm the dad who always finds us the thing to watch on TV, or whatever that thing is.
Yeah.
And and about a year ago, we did this thing on, on the 20%, where we said we can't survive at the level we're
this much output
that we are right now, and we need to approach our lives like a corporation who's doing budget cuts.
That's good.
And you go across the board and you say, I need to take 20%. I need to cut 20% out of every department in my life. Yeah. So where I'm working, where I'm volunteering, where I'm doing this, where I'm doing that, I got to find 20% to cut. And in that conversation, I think it's maybe the place where we first did this phrase. It's not what, it's why.
Yeah.
So opportunities come up, requests come up, and we feel compelled to say yes to those. And why?
Right.
Well, part of it is because we fear that we're going to let somebody down, or part of it's because maybe we're afraid that no one else is going to do it, or part of it's because we get esteem from being the super person that does it all the time.
Exactly.
No one can do it like you can do it.
Yeah.
I just knew she would take care of it. Oh, she's such a go-to person, and all that kind of stuff. And we get dopamine.
We do.
From being the person that always is there on the spot.
And that's why the busiest people that always are the ones who get asked to do more things, because people see that they're, are going to do it.
Well,
and there's good in that. But man, boy, the older you get, the more you realize you only have so many hours in a day, and days in a week, and a life.
Another element of this, or another picture of this, is the thing where somebody says, "How are you doing? Are you busy?"
Yeah,
and we get a little joy kick from saying,
like, "Oh man,
I'm sorry, I can't do that. I'm doing this, and this," and we get a little thing about being the busy person.
Yeah. Oh, sure.
It's because it says, "Oh, this person is so important. They're busy."
They're busy. Yeah. But we always reference my dad. But he's one of the wisest people that we know. But he makes a habit when somebody will say to him, they say, "Hey, how you doing? You busy?" He say, "Not that much." Like,
no, fine.
But
don't you feel suspect of him? Why aren't you busy? Why aren't you sweating it? Why aren't you up to your eyeballs? Why aren't you stressed?
But the truth is, he has structured his life in such a way that he has time to prioritize people.
Oh my gosh, isn't it hilarious? This whole thing, this way we get this whole backwards thing, but we will download apps on how to be calm. We'll download apps on how to be peaceful.
Yeah.
We talk about work-life balance all the time.
Right.
And yet we do all the things that are against that one thing. So the idea of working less or working smarter, or being okay with a 4-day work week, or being okay with taking vacation, or being okay with just saying, no, we're going to do this, or just be home this weekend, or whatever it is. Yeah. Somehow that feels like a luxury.
It does, and that's ridiculous. Yeah. And the funny thing is, and I know you and I had this conversation when we first started our company. Yeah. It was like, who created the 40-hour work week? Which, by the way, we worked way more than that, and probably wasted some good years in our 20s and 30s. Well, but that's the thing. We bought into that.
Again, it's not what, it's why. So for us in that moment, that was a passion.
We were hustling.
It was a passion job, and we were excited about
building,
trying all these things, and doing all these things, and doing music videos, and doing movies, and going places, and doing all that stuff. So, and we didn't have the other pools on our time.
That's right.
That family, and we were doing it together. If I had been doing that on my own, or you were doing that, it would be a whole other thing.
We would have never seen one another.
We were partners. We were doing that. So, we got to spend all of our time together. We got to do fun stuff. So
yeah, definitely. But when things shifted, as we got older, and some of the big fancy dreams didn't come true. Pretty much none of them did. But no, that's okay. Yeah. We still live in the dream. We tried to hold ourselves to that type of a grind, because that's how we valued ourselves. Right. I was super busy. I'm doing this. We've got this going on. We talk about multitasking and I have got skills at multitasking. I can do about 4 things at once, but if I do that, I'm not enjoying or focusing on any of them. Right. And these are the things I've been trying to unlearn in my life as I get older and hopefully a little bit wiser. There's no reason to do that. That's part of our culture. It's like part of what our country was based on was this sort of the Puritan work ethic. Do you remember talking about that? Yeah. That's basically that we would define ourselves by how hard we're working, what we're building. And
our output.
Yeah. And there's a time for that. Like when you and I were younger, we were building our company and we really believed in it.
There's seasons for things like that, for sure.
Absolutely. But when that passion starts to wane and you're still holding yourself to those expectations, man, that's a quick road to burnout. It's a quick road to disappointing your family, your children, and everything else.
Well, as people have said in the past, we're not inventing this phrase, but no one says on their deathbed, deathbed, God, I wish I'd spent more time at the office.
Yeah.
God, I wish I'd spent more time working.
Yeah.
If there's any regret, it's like, I miss the family. I wish I could be with my family.
Yeah, that's absolutely right.
Yeah.
And we have a bit of a luxury that, other people with more traditional jobs don't have, in that amidst the downside is the financial insecurity, the lack of a regular paycheck. Sure. The upside is there is freedom to structure your own schedule. That doesn't mean you still have the same amount of things to get done. Right. But if you see somebody, you can stop and spend time with them. You may have to work a little bit later that day, or whatever that is. But how do you get out of that trap? Because it's so prevalent in our culture that we're defined by our productivity.
I was thinking about that. Because I really wanted to encourage people. There are a lot of people, especially as I think the economy is changing and work is changing and what that kind of looks like is changing. I think there's a couple of cautions and I think there's a couple of opportunities. One of them is to stop holding yourself to an antiquated sense of work and work ethic. Yeah. Because it's simply just not a reality. It's a thing that it's kind of been put on us. Yeah. But it's not reality, and it's not a happy life. And if the goal is a happy life, if a goal is a joyful, fulfilling life, then do the things that bring you joy in that. Some of that's going to be work, but a lot of that's going to be family and friends and exploration and going to different places and seeing different things. And that is the fullness of life, not just locking yourself into a 50-hour work week and waking up one day going, what happened and where to go? Yeah. So as we say, it is so much about asking. It's not what, but why.
Why am I working this much?
Why am I going or why am I not going? Yeah. Why am I doing this or why am I not doing it? Who says I have to do it this way? And then asking ourselves, what actually works best for either what I'm trying to achieve or for my family life, my life here? I think that's a big part of that question. Yeah. Why?
And I think, it is all about the why. I mean, like, for example, if we, and again, we have a non-traditional work situation, but there are times where, by 3 or 4 in the afternoon, you can tell you're spinning your wheels at work. Yeah. But there are projects that you're doing at home, being with your family, renovate. Sometimes we're renovating things.
Here's a little secret just to make me look good. I had a window this afternoon where I had a couple of things I was waiting on for work, and I had a window where I really just didn't have that much to do in that 45 minutes. Okay. And this
is at work?
This is at work. I just didn't have, because I'm waiting on some other stuff, and I just didn't have a lot to do. So I could put myself in the office and I could just, kind of twiddle my thumbs and do all that kind of stuff.
Return some emails or whatever.
Or if I went home right now. Right. And I was alone for 30 minutes, I could knock out these 4 things and be done.
Yeah, now, that you needed to do.
It's in the middle of the day, though, man. And you're supposed to be at the office. And you're supposed to be doing these things.
And I'm going to tell on you.
You're required to be at the office. Actually, because we're self-employed, we have that privilege. Right. I'm not. Yeah. So I left.
But we would still hold ourselves to that.
Yeah, I left. I went to the house for a second. I took care of those 3 or 4 things, knocked them out, makes the rest of the weekend so much better. Yeah. And then I came back here and I worked on the things I needed to work on. Yeah. But there was still this thing saying, you're supposed to be at the office right now. You're supposed to be at work right now.
Well, and I think for people who are in a different work situation, and hey, by the way, this happens too. We know a lot of people that are retired and that are volunteers, and they are working like dogs as hard. I mean, hey, for a good cause, but I'm just saying that that can also, that can happen if you're a mom that's at home or a dad that's at home taking care of your family. These same things kind of get on all of us, whether you're volunteering or it's rejecting being confident enough to be countercultural. Yes. Because it's such a value, but it's killing a lot of people in our culture. So it is tough to reprioritize your time. Yes. And especially when other people say, you were at home today from 1 to 3, or like it's their business. But those things happen. And so
you treated your family like they're more important than your job?
But
for example, we're in a spot right now where our daughter's 14. Yeah. And we, unfortunately, because we're older, we know what time is, and we know how years go. We know what high school's like.
So 4 years left with
you
her.
And I have prioritized our finances around being able to take trips, travel with our daughter, go places. Because now is the moment now's when we're living with her.
That's right.
Now's the moment we're making memories. Now's the moment where we're kind of helping shape her view of the world, opening her up to things that she might not see or consider otherwise, shaping her, helping her shape her values.
And now's the time where we can make her go on vacation with us.
So there's a thing where you can start thinking, well, you just did a trip like 6 months ago.
Right.
Or you just did a trip like 3 months ago. Are
Sure.
you sure you should be traveling so much?
Well, but
why not?
Well, and this is, everyone's priorities are different, but for us, we may say no to, like, here's a good example. Your car is near death, but we drive them forever, and it's smarter. I feel like it's smarter to do that, but
we're not settling ourselves down with other debt.
You could get a new car, and you probably should. I mean, like, yours isn't roadworthy, go to Tulsa, but we have prioritized any extra money we have to try and save it for these experiences to have with our daughter.
Yes.
And so that's not to make us look good. Everybody has different priorities.
But I will say that there's a part of you that feels a little guilty or a little suspicious of yourself.
When you go on another trip, you're like, oh, really? You guys just went to whatever?
I don't know why. And occasionally you can even find yourself thinking about that for other people. Like another family takes a trip, like the neighbors take a trip, and you're like, wow, must be nice.
They were just gone.
Yeah, that was nice. And why? Why aren't we celebrating those people? Why aren't we celebrating their chance or their opportunity to do that? Why aren't we applauding that? Man, I'm so glad you guys are getting to do that. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Your kids will remember that the rest of their life.
Who
knows what ideas will be seated in their brains because they got to go on that trip and see those things and do that stuff.
That's so
amazing.
True. And I was thinking about when our daughter has been involved in musical theater, and there's like 10 days in the summertime where the parents become the crew for this amazing organization that we have in our city. Yeah. And but it requires people taking off their vacation time a lot of times in doing this. And people could say, why would you do that? Why would you, not work? Well, I mean, I know the parents that are involved in this organization, they know that these are special times that they're creating with their kids. And so I think a lot of it is trying to be brave enough to look inside and say, why am I spending, like we were talking about, why am I spending all this time focused on work? Is that completely necessary? What if I were to truly take a look at flipping this and prioritizing what I say is most important to me and structuring things that way? And then the second part of that, if you can get through the first part, is being able to tell people why when they, we call it the press release, which, you hate that you need that. But I love what you just said. That's so great. People, oh, wow, you guys are going to a trip? You just, we really only have 4 years left with our daughter, and we want to make these experiences a priority for her. So that's what we're doing. Yes. So being confident, I think, enough, or saying, my kids are little right now, and I was working too much, and so I am going to quit this second part-time job so that I have more time to be with them. I mean, it's great. Yes. Just telling people, honestly, it doesn't have to be snippy when you do it. But the point is, this is what we value, and it'll shut them up pretty quick.
Well, and I just want to encourage you guys that, I mean, if you're embarking in something that looks different than everything else around you, if you are embarking on a different phase in life, if you're trying something new or whatever, I think feel free to ask the why question, and feel free to be okay with it not looking like the traditional setup. Yes. Not looking like the thing that everybody else does all the time. Yeah. And be okay with that. Yeah. You don't have to go back to the 1950s and have someone, shame you for working 30 hours a week. Yeah. If you can get what you need to get done, what you want to get done in 20 hours, 30 hours, by all means do it. Yes. And live life. That's the the beauty of even being here and doing all this. But I feel like there is this kind of heavy unspoken pressure for us to really get to output.
Grind it out.
And so, there's a thing about maybe not taking quite so much pride in being the busy one. And maybe changing our language or our response and stuff. And I say this as, as
somebody who struggles with it.
Well, as people who, are, relatively busy with things, but we're busy with things that kind of fit this season of our life. So
they are meaningful to us.
We're busy with stuff that is at Evangelin's school. Yeah. And that means doing Dreamers Club. That means helping Evangeline. That means chaperoning stuff and all that. But we're doing that away from work because that's our value right now.
Exactly. Yeah. I think it's super important. I know for me, and I think we've talked about this before on this podcast, the idea of learning how to say no to someone, especially, I don't know, my only experience is as a female, but it can be, for someone who took a lot of pride in being the one who could get it done, the productive one, who could come up with the solutions. I also enjoy that, but I got to the point where it was kind of killing independent George, as they would say on Seinfeld. Saying no got easier for me. Yeah. And you can also say no in love.
Yes. Oh, absolutely.
I'll never forget the first time I was in a board meeting. I was on the Allied Arts and Humanities Council. This was when this first started occurring to me so many years ago. Mm-hmm. And someone said, I was thinking you'd be perfect for this and da-da-da-da-da. And it was so funny. I had to apologize after because I said no, like that, just no. And then I went, I'm sorry. I said, that was my first time to ever say that. And everyone laughed. But I said, thank you so much. Yeah. I am flattered that you would think I would be good at it. Yeah. And I wanted to be like, and I would. I'm just kidding.
I would rock it.
Yeah, but I just got too many things and I can't do it right now. Right. Had you thought about so-and-so? But I guess my point is that had to become a habit for me. Yes. And it's something that I had 2 things today that someone asked me to do. One of them I felt shine on. Yeah. We talk about shine, where you feel mojo, you feel drawn to that. Mm-hmm. The other, not so much. Yes. And so I had to politely say, I am so sorry. That sounds like such a neat event. Right. I am not able to do it on that day. And thank you for asking me. It gets easier, and the press releases as to why you've prioritized your time differently than everyone else around you has. Yeah. It gets easier when you do it. And then there's a freedom that comes. And, when it does come, it's like a breath of fresh air, dude. Yeah. It is like, yes, my life can be different.
I like the description of, I think your dad mentioned this phrase, which I think really fits what you're saying, but I think at some point he said that would not be a good use of me.
Oh, that's such a great phrase.
And it wasn't like he was trying to get. It's not like he was trying to get out of manual labor or something, or helping or serving or whatever. It's just
he knows his.
We have
talents.
Limited time. We have limited resources. We have limited brain bandwidth and all that stuff. And so we have to kind of pick and choose the places we go to, and what we do, and where we expend that energy. But
and how we can help. Yeah.
So saying, that's a really important job. Yeah. It's a really necessary thing. That's not a good use of me.
Yeah.
I'm needed over here to do these things.
Yeah. A recent example I have in that, just as an illustration for people, because everybody knows what their strengths and gifts are. Not everybody does, but a lot of people are familiar with what they're good at. But we were speaking at an assembly at Central Middle School on behalf of Dreamers Club.
And it was amazing. It was just amazing.
I feel like the 8th graders took it in. They were, I don't know. They were
forever changed.
Maybe.
The future of America is safe, friends.
There were some good things about it.
Yes,
You're
it
like,
was
middle school kids. But anyway, we were getting ready to set up. You and I are getting ready to kind of trade off speaking. We're going to have a panel with kids, this whole thing. And we have some of our Dreamers Club kids. And they are going to be passing out candy. We do bribe kids with suckers. And then they had some cards to pass out and different things. And so you're getting ready. You're checking your notes, making sure all the audio visuals are working. I'm in charge of kind of getting the kids together. And then I realized there's 250 of these postcards that have like our podcast stuff info on it and like tips to take home with you. And there's 4 kids and they've got to get them out to all these kids. And I'm standing there beating my head against my own brain wall, thinking, what's the most efficient way to get these cards out to these kids before they leave? So I know
you need a strategy for something.
My mind does not work well in numbers and systems. Yeah. Like we used to do events all the time and I could do the decorations and I know where to tell the people there. But when it came to getting people through the food line, I had no idea how to tell them what to do. So our daughter has that ability. She was there and I got one other kid. I say, hey, can you figure out the most efficient way to pass out these cards? They look at each other. Yeah, 4 on this side, 2 here. We'll do it at 250. I was like, oh, okay, great. But
it's like your own little AI.
It was perfect. I was like, and God bless. But the point being that I could have spent all of my time, that is not a good use of me, to figure out a system. A good use of me is to coordinate the people and to make them feel special and to pick out festive snacks. But you guys know what you're good at. Yes. You guys know where your shine is. And so it's okay to say no.
Yeah.
in a loving way.
Here's another thing that I'm reminded of. We've talked about this book before, the book, the 4,000 Weeks book, and I wish I could remember the guy's name that wrote it. But anyway, if you go to
something Oliver, maybe.
Yeah, I think you're right. And I think it's Oliver Burke, maybe.
That's exactly it. Nice.
If you go to Amazon and just type in 4,000 Weeks book, you'll find it. And
it's a good
so worth
book.
it. I'm going to reread it, but
okay.
But in this book,
will you tell me about it when you reread it? Okay.
In this book, he's talking about this whole kind of thing and this burden we feel to be productive and this whole deal. And
it addresses this
very
whole
stuff.
thing.
The very stuff we're talking about right now. And what's interesting about it, he says, when they go back and they look at it scientifically, they map our output and they map our efficiency and all that kind of stuff and how optimized, work schedules should be based on the general humans.
Yeah.
It comes out that we are pretty much efficient and really optimized for work, for whatever it is we're doing, for about 2 hours.
Yeah.
In a day.
I've heard that.
In a day.
That's all we can really focus.
And when he goes back and looks at the people, these kind of icons of brilliance, whether in art or in economics or in physics and all that kind of stuff, all these brilliant people.
Yeah.
That was their thing. They would get up. The very first
was
thing
it Thomas Jefferson, right?
All these people.
He worked 2 hours a day.
Yeah, he'd get up. The very first thing he did was this, then this,
yeah,
these things. He gave it 2 hours.
Yeah.
And after that, the efficiency, the optimization, the quality of everything else that happened after that
was on a decline.
Started dropping.
Yeah.
Drastically.
Isn't that interesting?
And so, but if you were to go and say and propose, hey, let's do 2-hour work days, people would lose their minds.
Well,
First of all, they wouldn't know what else to do with themselves the rest of the day.
That's so true.
But there is a thing about saying, just because you're working harder doesn't mean you're doing it better. Just because you're working longer doesn't mean you're actually putting out better stuff.
But we would make ourselves, stay at the office until 5:30 or 6 or whatever it is, and the truth is, we all do this. We work in fits and snatches. Is that what they call it?
I wouldn't.
That's a weird. Is that the right?
We'll just leave it there.
Fits and snatches. I don't know. That sounded weird. But the point is, little things, and then like me. I'm a good example today. Instead, I was going on Amazon looking at groundhog decorations, which is sort of part of my job. But
it was. But you know what you did? You saved it for the time when you could use that. It is, it is a job, but it is also entertaining, and it's not the same as crunching numbers.
Exactly.
So when you got to the afternoon, after you've already done your other 2 hours of kind of focused, intentional stuff,
writing or
sense.
thinking, or music or whatever it is. So, we just, I think the key to this and so many things is we do not have to bite in to what everyone around us is doing.
Yes.
And you and I are kind of wired to be like, we don't have to do that. But it's tough for people.
I will tell you that when, as the band The Decemberists would say, the wanting comes in waves. And when the wanting comes, when the passion hits you, then yes, it's okay to give it those hours. It's okay to explode in that a little bit. It's okay to do that stuff, as long as you're not neglecting your people around you and you're eating and stuff.
Yes, and you're paying your taxes.
But it's also okay to be your own thing and do your own thing. And like Nirvana, this is what's right for us. This is what I'm doing right now. And it might not look like or sound like what everybody else is doing. And you don't have to copy that.
That's right. And that's what was so fascinating.
And so we just take that pressure, that kind of this thing that's kind of been mantle, thing that's been set on us as Americans. That says, okay, you have to do it this way.
That's right. If you're going to be a good citizen, a good American, you're going to do this. But that was the beauty of that Cooler King moment that we talked about. We've all had those. When Nirvana came out, this is just an example of, different things that happen. It was so different and so fresh and otherworldly that everyone took notice.
Yeah.
And, we can be like that in our lives. I mean, if we're being true to things that we're sensing and feeling in our heart and mind and we're following through, we can, in a way, be an inspiration to other people that are stuck in that rut.
Right.
Hey, I noticed you're not working, these 90 hours. How do you do that, man?
Most of us are looking for permission to be happy. Most of us are looking for permission to get out from underneath this heaviness, this heavy load that's on us in most cases.
Yeah, and it happens in work. It happens in parenting. Right. There's a culture of being, this is another podcast for another day, the perfect parent that spends every moment attentively dealing with every, just your entire focus. What does it make you a good parent? I mean.
Well, that's what media has given us, though. I mean, that's what commercials have given us. So
if you take no time for yourself to refuel, to do that, you're no good for people.
They also put this impossible thing on us. So whether it's the car commercial or the phone commercial or the thing where the dad is, he's super good looking. He's spending an hour and a half in the gym every day, but he's also leading the marketing team and he's coming up with these brilliant Don Draper, concepts and everything all the time. And he's doing this and he's also worked out so that he can, make it to the soccer game and to the recital, even if he has to do
coach the team.
Yeah, then he has to do the recital over the phone because he's actually flying to China, but don't worry because he's also going to be back in time to surprise his wife with a date at their favorite restaurant.
Absolutely.
And to do all this in a 30-hour day.
It is bullshit.
It is bullshit. It's just, and they do it even worse to women. So,
it's so bad. I remember it started in the 70s. I mean, I was very tiny in the 70s, but it was there was a perfume. It was Ajane. What was the name of it? It was, I can bring home the bacon, fry it up in a pan, and I'll never let you forget you're a man, because I'm a woman. That's like women's lib, the downside. I believe women should have all the opportunities, but you cannot do all that stuff and live. You will die. So let's just not.
Yeah. So here are some things that may or may not help. One is this idea, which we've talked about before, that it's, ask the why question. It's not what, it's why. Why am I doing this, and this? Why do I feel compelled to do this and this? Why, is this the number of hours it takes to do this, or am I feeling like I'm less of a person if I don't output more? That's that question.
Ask the why question. Okay.
Second of all, what are your values? What if you're making the top 5 list? What are the things that are most important to me? Okay, then how can I live according to those values?
Yeah.
If this is the most important stuff to me, how do I live a life that's prioritized to those things?
That's your filter.
And then if you ask yourself, what's most important to me? Well, it would be to do this. Okay, well, then that should be the first thing on your list today. You should get your best in a day. So before you're worn out, before you get just given it to your leftovers, whatever's left over in your day, then take that thing that's most important to you and make that the priority.
Yeah, that's good.
And so if that's writing and you still work a corporate job, well, then get up a little bit earlier and write so that you don't get to the end of the day exhausted and then have to give it whatever leftovers you have.
Yeah, And I think a third step would be...
maybe the fourth. I've already given 3.
Did you give 3?
You're not paying attention.
Did I miss one? Yeah. And I think the fourth one is if you're trying to make some of these transitions in your life, think about how to talk to people about it,
and communicate,
because people are going to ask.
Yeah.
And if you get a press release and it makes it easy, well, we're prioritizing our time around our daughter.
Yeah.
Or
and you may be giving somebody else permission to do the same thing in their life.
It's not so much about defending yourself, although sometimes you feel like you need to, but it's about saying, this is what I prioritize. Yeah. And I guarantee you the person you're talking to will go, interesting.
And, if they don't, then they don't.
Then God bless them.
But that's not going to change your happiness and your life.
That's right. I'm still going to celebrate the groundhog.
Oh my gosh.
No matter what, because it's important to me.
Now that we're changing the name of the podcast, I don't know if I can say...
What?
Okay, dreamers, we'll see you next. I'll have to say, okay, humans. Until next time, we will see you.
You're going to have to adjust your salutation.
Yeah. All right, friends, don't forget, look for Hope for Humans, the new name of the podcast that's coming out. And that'll be the same joyous people. You'll love us, just like you did.
Yeah, and hopefully it'll just help more people find a little help in what we're doing.
You can help in that by doing like a little review for the podcast or giving it a star rating or, that kind of stuff. Like it and thumbs up and send it to friends. But
share this podcast with a friend. I guarantee you, this probably spoke to you in some way, but I bet another few people that came to mind.
Yeah.
You think, I see this person beating their head against the wall all the time. Hey, just share it to them. Hey, there's this podcast I listened to, and there's this episode about, not buying into the productivity, theory or whatever, and say, listen to it and let's get together and have coffee and talk about it. It's a good way to share the podcast, and it's a good reason for you to get together and have some community with somebody.
Absolutely. All right, friends, we will see you next time. And until then, peace out.
See ya.
Thanks for listening. We'd love it if you'd like and subscribe to the podcast and then share it with the people you know. We want to include as many people as possible in the conversation. Also, be sure to check out our Got a Minute Mini podcast, which pairs funny stories with original music all in about 15 minutes. Thanks! This has been a production of Pioneer Dream.